Another deep dive. Today we're heading down to the arid plains of southern Peru, to one of the world's really astonishing archaeological wonders, the Nazca Lines. Now, you've sent us a fantastic stack of sources, everything from ancient history to, well, cutting-edge AI discoveries. And our mission today is to pull out the most important nuggets, really help you unravel the enigma of these massive geoglyphs, etched into the desert floor over 2 millennia ago. We're sort of joining researchers on this incredible journey, peeling back layers of mystery, how they were made, why they exist, and how tech is revealing secrets right now.
It really is a profound mystery, and it just highlights the sheer ingenuity of ancient civilizations, doesn't it? What's so fascinating, I think, is just how these gigantic drawings are still visible today, and, how our understanding keeps evolving with every new piece of tech we throw at it.
Okay, so to kick us off then, for
Well,
those who might have heard the name but maybe can't picture the scale,
yeah.
what are we really looking at when we talk about the Nazca Lines?
Right. Well, we're talking about over 700 geoglyphs. These are enormous designs carved right into the ground, and they span a combined length of more than 1,300 kilometers, that's about 800 miles,
Hmm.
across roughly 50 square kilometers of desert. Some figures, like you said, are just huge, as large as a football field. And you find all sorts geometric shapes, spirals, triangles, trapezoids, but also really intricate animals, plants, even human-like figures, like that famous astronaut.
Wow. Given that immense scale and the precision, too,
Yeah.
how did ancient people even do this without, airplanes to see what they were doing?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And this is where the Nazca people's ingenuity, well, it really shines. The kind of profound insight here is that these weren't made with, like, advanced machinery. It was a simple technique, but brilliant. They just removed the top layer of pebbles, those reddish-brown iron oxide-coated ones.
Just scrape them away.
Exactly, revealing the lighter yellowish-gray subsoil underneath. The lines themselves are typically quite shallow, maybe 10 to 15 centimeters, 4 to 6 inches deep. But what's absolutely crucial, the key to their survival, is the climate there. It's incredibly dry, almost no wind, minimal rain.
Yeah, yeah.
Plus, that sublayer of earth has lime in it. And with the morning mist, it hardens, forms a kind of protective shield against erosion. That's why they've lasted for centuries, millennia even,
Yeah.
in just astonishing condition.
That's fascinating how something so simple method-wise could create something so lasting. But if they're so enormous, you can barely make them out from the ground level.
Right.
How on earth were they even discovered? Who first noticed them?
Well, for a long time, they were largely unknown to the wider world. It was pilots flying over the region back in the 1920s who first spotted them. They literally stumbled upon this ancient marvel from, a whole new perspective.
In the air.
Right. Exactly. And that, of course, sparked immense scientific interest. One of the earliest proper studies was 1927, a Peruvian archaeologist, Toribio Mejia Cespe. And then you have the incredible story of Maria Reke, the German mathematician, often called the Lady of the Lines.
Oh, yes, I've heard of her.
She dedicated 50 years of her life, 50 years, studying, mapping, preserving them, working out there in the desert, basically with a broom and a compass. Just amazing dedication. She also worked with an American professor, Paul Cusack. He was initially looking into whether the lines were connected to irrigation systems.
So we're starting to get a picture of the monumental effort, the sheer scale. But that raises the next big question. Who were these people, the creators? And what else were they capable of?
Right. So the primary creators were the Nazca culture. They flourished from around, say, 500 BC to 500 AD. Though, some sources push those dates a bit, maybe 100 BC to 800 AD. There's always some debate with dating. But they were clearly an advanced civilization, really known for their engineering skills, their artistic expression. They mostly settled in the river valleys where obviously water was available.
And digging into the sources, they weren't the only ones drawing on the desert floor, were they? There's evidence of earlier cultures involved, too.
That's correct. The preceding Paracas culture, they date back to maybe 400, 200 BC. They also created geoglyphs. In fact, drones, amazing tool, have recently revealed about 25 of these Paracas glyphs in the Palpa province nearby. Some of those predate the Nazca Lines by maybe 1,000 years.
1,000 years.
Yeah. And interestingly, many of these older figures are actually on hillsides. They depict things like warriors, which is quite different from many of the Nazca's flat plane animal and geometric designs. So it definitely suggests a continuous cultural tradition, something that evolved over a very long time.
Okay, given that scale and precision we talked about, the Nazca must have been incredibly skilled planners. What does the research tell us about how they actually planned and executed these giant drawings without, that bird's eye view we have now.
This is where their mastery of, well, basic arithmetic and geometry really comes into play. It's quite impressive. Researchers believe they use surprisingly simple tools, things like wooden stakes, ropes made from local fibers, and just careful measurements.
Really, just stakes and ropes.
Seems so. For the complex figures, like the spider or the hummingbird that everyone knows, they likely created smaller scale models first, maybe drew them out on the ground nearby, and then they scaled them up using these simple geometric techniques. Early theories even suggested there may be a grid method for some of the larger, more geometric shapes. It's really a testament to their incredible command of surveying and design. And, researchers have actually replicated lines using these exact techniques. It proves it was entirely possible.
Wow, that really underscores their ingenuity with basic tools.
Right.
But their cleverness wasn't just limited to the geoglyphs, right? I mean, to really appreciate the Nazca, we have to look at how they managed to thrive in such a tough environment. What other impressive things did they achieve?
Absolutely. That's a great point. The Nazca were also masters of water management. I mean, this is an extremely arid place. They built these ingenious underground aqueducts. They're called puquios.
Ah, yes, the puquios with the spiral openings.
Exactly, those spiral ramps going down. They tapped into subsurface water sources, kept evaporation minimal, and many of these channels are actually still in use today, which is just remarkable, a testament to their engineering across millennia. And beyond that, they produced exquisite pottery. Polychrome pottery often using up to 12 distinct colors, very technically advanced, and complex textiles too. And often these pots and textiles depict the very same figures we see in the geoglyphs. It shows a really consistent artistic and symbolic vision.
And what about their settlements or gathering places? What do we know about how Nazca society was organized?
Well, excavations at a major site called Cahuachi have revealed something really interesting. It seems it wasn't really an urban center like a city where people lived day to day. It was more of a significant ceremonial site. Someone described it as a kind of pre-Hispanic Vatican, a place people gathered.
A ceremonial center.
Yes, for rituals, for feasting, probably related to agriculture, asking for water, fertility, things vital for survival there. The evidence includes huge amounts of deliberately broken, high-status pottery, like ritually smashed.
Interesting.
Yeah. And food offerings, maize, squash, beans, and even discoveries of spondylus shells.
The spiny oyster shells.
That's the one. Which symbolized water and fertility for many ancient South American peoples. And finding them there suggests quite far-reaching trade networks, too, because they come from warmer waters further north.
Okay, so we have this sophisticated culture, engineering masters, artists,
Yeah.
creating these incredible vast designs. Which leads us, finally, to the biggest question of all. Why? Why did the Nazca create these enormous geoglyphs? It feels like there must be as many theories as there are lines.
Indeed. And the honest answer is the true purpose likely remains one of archaeology's great mysteries. It was probably multifaceted, not just one single reason. But one of the earliest and most famous theories, championed by Maria Reich herself, was that the lines served an astronomical or calendrical purpose. She believes some lines aligned with celestial bodies, the sun at solstices or equinoxes, maybe important stars, or even that they represented constellations, or perhaps counter-constellations.
Counter-constellations. What are those?
Those are the dark patches in the Milky Way. Some Andean cultures saw figures in the darkness, not just the arrangements of stars. It's a fascinating concept.
A giant open-air calendar or star chart. That's a really captivating idea.
It absolutely is. And some early researchers like Paul Kosak even called it the largest astronomy book in the world. High praise, however. After decades more research, that specific theory, the purely astronomical one, has largely been, well, abandoned by most archaeologists today. The dramatic shift away from that focus towards theories centered more on water and ritual. It isn't just about new data, it's actually a key insight into how archaeology itself evolves, right? Moving past maybe initial grand assumptions to really try and understand the life or death realities and spiritual beliefs of these ancient desert dwellers.
That's a really significant shift in thinking then. So, if not primarily astronomy, what is the most accepted thinking among scholars today?
Well, the theories that have the most traction now link the lines directly to water and fertility rituals. Which makes sense, right?
Yeah.
These were absolutely crucial for survival in that challenging desert environment. Many of the animal figures depicted, think of the spider, the monkey, the condor. They have strong symbolic connections to water or rain in broader Andean cultures. The spider, for instance, often represented rain and fertility. Condors appearing down on the coast were sometimes seen as a sign that there was water up in the mountains. feeding the rivers. So the idea is the geoglyphs might have been part of elaborate prayers or offerings or maybe even processional routes used in rituals asking for life-sustaining rain.
And I've heard ideas that maybe they weren't just images to be seen from afar, but places to be experienced up close. Is there actual evidence for that?
Exactly. That's a really fascinating angle. There's growing evidence suggesting the lines were ceremonial pathways, ritual landscapes to be, walked upon, maybe danced upon. Magnetometry surveys, which can detect subtle magnetic variations in the soil caused by past activity.
Right, like ground-penetrating radar almost.
Sort of, yeah. They've shown that the ground within the lines was heavily compacted, heavily trampled, much more so than the surrounding desert. And almost every geoglyph, even the complex spirals, seems to have a clear entrance and a clear exit. They form a continuous walkway.
Ah, so you could actually walk the entire figure.
Precisely. And those large trapezoids, they're often found with associated stone altars and offerings like corn, llama bones. They might have functioned as huge sacred arenas, or maybe theaters for mass gatherings and rituals involving the community.
Now, of course, we can't really talk about the Nazca Lines without at least mentioning them more.
Huh.
Well, the more out there theories. What about the whole alien visitors idea?
Ah, yes, the ancient astronaut theory, popularized mainly by Erich von Däniken back in the 1960s. This theory basically proposes the lines were, landing strips? Or maybe giant communication signals for extraterrestrial beings.
It's kind of wild how persistent that theory is, isn't it? Even with so much solid evidence pointing elsewhere. Why do you think it captured so many imaginations?
Well, it's definitely a compelling narrative, isn't it? Grand mysteries, advanced beings. But scientifically speaking, this idea is widely debunked. There's just no credible evidence for it. As we've discussed, archaeologists have shown how the lines could be made and have even replicated them using simple tools and knowledge available to the Nazca people. There's absolutely no need to invoke extraterrestrials.
Right, Occam's razor and all that.
Pretty much. And that famous astronaut figure. While it looks intriguing, scholars now commonly interpret it as perhaps a fisherman holding a net or maybe a shaman in ritual attire depicted in the Nazca style. I mean, let's be honest, would aliens really prefer uncaved runways, barely visible from ground level, that serve no obvious aerodynamic purpose? It doesn't quite add up.
Yeah, good point. That makes perfect sense. So, shifting back to current research,
Yeah.
it's just incredible that after all these years, new discoveries are still being made. Tell us about the latest breakthroughs.
It really is an incredibly exciting time for Nazca research. Things are moving fast. Just recently, in 2024, a team of archaeologists, mainly from Japan's Yamagata University, working with IBM Research, used an AI model. They trained it on huge amounts of aerial photos, satellite images, and crucially, LiDAR data.
LiDAR, that's a laser mapping tech, right?
Exactly. It uses pulsed laser light to measure distances, creating these incredibly detailed 3D maps of the ground. It can reveal really subtle contours, things totally hidden to the naked eye or even in normal photos. And get this. In just 6 months, this AI-assisted system uncovered 303 previously unseen geoglyphs.
300?
Yeah, including things like parrots, different kinds of cats, monkeys, killer whales, even depictions of severed heads, which were a known part of Nazca iconography. The AI model was apparently 21 times faster at spotting these faint traces than humans could be. Many of these newer glyphs are just fainter or smaller, or maybe they're hollowed-out reliefs rather than cleared lines, which helps explain why they stayed hidden for so long.
So technology is literally revealing what human eyes alone just couldn't pick up. What else are we learning from these new finds about the Nazca people themselves?
Well, that's the crucial next question, isn't it? What does it all mean? For one thing, recent research, combining careful observation with ornithology, has shown that some of the bird geoglyphs were previously misidentified. For example, one figure often called a hummingbird. It might actually be a specific type called a hermit.
A hermit?
Yeah, it's a type of hummingbird found not on the coast, but in distant forested regions of Peru, like the eastern Andes or even further. So finding it depicted suggests the Nazca people had wider knowledge of different environments or maybe trade networks, extending far beyond their immediate desert home. It broadens our picture of their world.
That's fascinating.
And drones, as I mentioned, are also proving just invaluable for surveying this vast landscape. Identifying new figures, like that cat geoglyph discovered in 2020, perched on a steep hillside, much harder to spot from traditional flights. It's amazing how much more we're starting to understand.
Okay, so with all this renewed interest and these amazing new discoveries, How are these ancient wonders actually being protected? They sound incredibly fragile.
They are indeed very fragile. The Nazca Lines are a UNESCO World Heritage Site, which offers some protection, but they face constant threats. There's natural wind erosion, of course, and unusual heavy rainfall events, like one back in 2009 that deposited huge amounts of clay, obscuring some areas. Climate change could make that worse. And then, regrettably, there's human activity. There have been several really unfortunate incidents.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. In 2012, squatters apparently damaged an ancient cemetery near the lines. In 2014, Greenpeace activists caused damage during a media stunt near the famous hummingbird figure, left footprints.
Oh, I remember that. That caused quite an uproar.
It did. And in 2018, a truck driver drove off the highway and left deep scars across 3 geoglyphs, apparently trying to avoid a toll payment.
Unbelievable.
And even more recently, in 2025, there was a very controversial decision by authorities to potentially reduce the protected land area around the lines by like 42%. Thankfully, there was huge public backlash, citing risks from informal mining nearby, and that decision was quickly reversed. But it just shows preservation efforts, constant vigilance, increased surveillance. They're all absolutely crucial to ensure these ancient masterpieces endure for future generations.
Wow. What a journey through the Nazca Desert we've taken.
Yeah.
From these mysterious giant figures etched into the earth to the sophisticated culture that created them. It's so clear the Nazca Lines are far more than just, big drawings. They really are a profound testament to ancient ingenuity, deep spiritual beliefs, and, well, an ongoing archaeological puzzle that just keeps revealing its secrets.
They really are. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the Nazca Lines just remind us how much incredible history can lie hidden, sometimes right there in plain sight, just waiting for new technology or new perspectives to reveal its amazing stories.
And that definitely raises an important question for you, listening out there. What other ancient secrets might still be hidden in our world, just waiting for the right moment, the right tech, the next deep dive to uncover them? Something to think about until next time.